So what did you do? I mean, I know we're talking about wine here, but what did you glean from that you're now adapting to this?
Well, we lost our way in what our story was. Like our launch at Purple was around a very viral, successful video, this Goldilocks video with an egg drop. And we celebrated the funny, and it was very intoxicating to get the views. But we ended up becoming more like a media company that drove views and not a mattress company that was selling benefit.
Yeah, right.
And we had to get back to what are we selling? Why is it good for our customers? And let's make sure we're saying that. And it's the same thing with what I'm doing now.
So I've actually used Bright Cellars because I immediately recognized it when I went to the site and they started asking me, do you like Snickers or Reese's peanut butter cups, hot tea, Arnold Palmer, margaritas, or Scotch, party or beach? I mean, I guess it's an algorithm that tells me, does she like sweet wine? I mean, is that preceded you coming in, didn't it?
It did.
So why is that? Has that been a winning proposition, or what?
Absolutely.
What are you doing differently?
And we're just getting started on that data side. The founders came up with a really novel way to deconstruct taste. And the quiz asks things. Nothing about wine, really. It's things anyone knows. And as you said, do you prefer milk chocolate, dark chocolate, or gummy bears?
I don't know what Snickers versus Reese's peanut butter cups. Is that nutty versus oaky? I'm not sure.
And we ultimately, under the hood, are deconstructing that into things like your preference for acidity and astringency and bitterness and sweetness and those kinds of factors, which allow us to build a profile. That profile, because every wine we can actually assign or ascribe similar kinds of dimensions, just to get you started, just to get you going with wine. And we assume you may not know anything about wine. That actually allows us, we then factor in, because we have millions of reviews, so we know what kind of people like which wines. We can get you started with a box that you have a really high probability that you're going to like, if not all, most of what we send you.
I mean, it does feel like a millennial Gen Z, hey, tequila drinker, come try wine. I mean, what have you done? Because they obviously, when somebody's brought in from the outside, by very nature, it seems like a change agent kind of role. So
that's right.
That algorithm was in place. What was missing in terms of what your own mission is?
We were getting really good at attracting people in, but at the core, we had to be a successful subscription company, which meant attracting
You don't want people like me who get the discount box and then say, I'm going to move to Martha Stewart next.
So when I joined, and we were a young company, we grew like crazy through the pandemic, as many alcohol businesses did. But top line growth does not mean healthy business. Top line growth does not mean profitability. And it turned out we were scaling an upside down value prop.
What do you mean by that? What does it mean to scale an upside down value proposition?
So for us, exactly what you were saying on like the deal hunters, the people coming in.
And I apologize for that, by the way.
No, it's human nature.
It works.
If we were giving away a lot of value on the first box, but we're not acquiring people who have any intent of sticking with us, then we actually are running an unprofitable business.
So what do you do differently to get around that?
So thing one is, let's make sure anyone who's buying from us knows what they're buying into. So for example, I mean, when I joined, more than 50% of people who bought a first box never got to a second box. They were deal hunters. Some of that was the channels we were going after. We found that there were highly efficient, low acquisition cost channels that drove people in, but they were just coming for the deal. They had no intention. And one easy way to look at that is I found like 10% of people in those channels canceled their subscription the day they signed up. We hadn't even shipped the box yet, and they were already just canceling it. They wanted a value on a first box.
Right.
So some of the changes we've rolled out, for example, is instead of, say, giving you $60 off the first box, which encourages that deal hunter, how about if we give you $100 but off the first 4 boxes? Mm-hmm. So a better value equation. You actually get a better deal if you have any intent of sticking with us for 3 or 4 boxes. But we're going to now attract the kind of customer who actually is interested in a subscription with a good value equation. That alone throws us into profitability. And we've got layers of those kinds of efforts that just convert this into getting the right customer on the right value.
And your job's not to change the zeitgeist, but I do want to talk about the zeitgeist in terms of The overall wine consumption is trending down, certainly with this new generation.
Especially with the new generation.
And, you know, I don't think it's just a matter of choice. I mean, some of it's, frankly, alcohol abstinence altogether. I mean, what do you see as where are the areas of growth for the industry and for you?
Well, first of all, it's generational, which is just how do we become more relevant? Some contraction. We're a tiny percentage of a very big industry. So that the category is retracting at some level doesn't concern me.
And you have plenty of choice for product, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
We could grow our business substantially in a shrinking category, just given the massive scale of this category.
Mm-hmm.
It's really how do we become more relevant to a generation that it turns out they like wine. The issue isn't that this just doesn't resonate with them. What they don't like is what wine has become, the wine culture, how you buy wine, and it's a category that has been engineered to make you feel stupid. It's a category that has started to index far more towards the ultra elite, the really expensive wines, and the building big brand around that. And wine's been around for thousands of years. It's one of
most
the
of it's
oldest
cheap
alcohols
plonk.
out there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cheap out there.
I'm saying historically.
Yeah. But it's But one thing that's true about wine is it's always been something about joy and bringing people together. You look historically, and celebration and wine, they're always paired. And to us, that's the crime. It's if wine and joy go together. And most of our customers typically drink wine with a family member, with a friend, their way, on their terms, in the real world. Pizza, sweats, whatever. Yeah, how do we get back to that? And one of the sayings we have is wine is meant to be poured, not stored. That's the point.
So it sounds like you're actually taking inspiration from the early days of Purple. So there's a marketing challenge.
There is a marketing challenge.
Cutting through the clutter.